Welcome everyone to the Package Group's weekly retrospective for January 31st, 2020. I believe João has the first item, but since he's not attending, I will read on his behalf and what went not so well. João says he had to redo a good portion of the tag delete API improvements in Rails to guarantee compatibility with third-party registries. Almost there, the third-party registry compatibility strategy is a very important topic. Over to you, Nico.
So first point, I did not manage to follow up with Gigi about this MR before his holidays. And it's kind of a bummer because I intended to, just the day slipped through my hands before I managed. And I have some GitLab UI pending work, but I am a bit struggling in finding the motivation to jump on it and complete it because the scoping of it needs to be redone, because there's going to be a new team taking care of this kind of stuff or focusing on this kind of stuff, but I will get to it. And over to Dan.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling particularly well all of this week, which is not tops. I was also struggling to get some dashboards set up for longer than I should have. I got it sorted out finally, only to find out that I made a simple error when I was doing it, because that's always fun. And then I realized I hadn't actually registered for Contribute. In what went well, there's something to follow up on that. So over to you, Steve.
So I found that traveling on work days is a lot harder to manage a full day worth of productivity. And I'm sure that traveling with a toddler has greatly increased that difficulty. And then also, this week was one of the kind of weeks where it's like I feel like I've got a lot done and I've done a lot of things, but one or two of my main sort of objectives have suffered from less attention and getting all these other things done. David?
Yes, thank you. So I had almost all the requests for the NuGet MVC done. And the last one is downloading the package archive, and I hit a subtle bug where you couldn't download it. I was like, no, but well, a fix is on its way. On to Heli.
Had a lot more back and forth with a maintainer on one of my MRs. So that's was a little frustrating. Took a little bit more time than I would have hoped. And then we do have a lot. We do have about half of the MRs for the sped up S3 garbage collection merged in. So testing with the full version of that, actually doing a garbage collection run is relatively quick. It's super quick actually, which is great. But rebuilding that registry to like do a comparison test takes quite a long time, and it's just doesn't it. The anticipation is killing me. Over to Jean's not here, so I'm gonna keep talking. The registry S3 sweep improvements were merged. So that's great. It was huge MR, massively impacting the performance of garbage collection. We made lots of improvements to the registry release plan. Next, we're going to automate it. And this is lots of knowledge, lots of interesting discussion, knowledge sharing during peer reviews. Special thanks to David and Haley. And on to Tim.
Thank you. First, I'd say it was great seeing Steve in Los Angeles. We had a great co-working day and ate some delicious poke, and he helped me get the dependency proxy up and running on GDK, which was really cool, and I was able to publish a speed run of that. Dan and I were working on the milestone review and planning this week, and I think that adding a bit more structure to the meeting and was a big helped us get through a lot of details in an hour. Well, I'm all about the co-working this week. It all went really well. And then Ian and I in RSync yesterday made some really good progress on some of the research that we're doing and some of the design around the container registry user interface. And well, I'm not quite done with all the release post items. Maybe I was a bit ambitious. I still have 4 items, which, by the way, let me just say, really excited about how many release post items that look like they're going to go out this month. It's very exciting. But yeah, getting these done ahead of schedule, I think, is really valuable because I'm going to be the release post manager for 12.8. And I think that's going to be a lot of extra work. But so I'm glad to be ahead of the game on that front. On to Nico.
Yeah, so I was getting a bit worried about repository level Docker container expiration policies. It's becoming longer and longer. But I found a way to anticipate a little bit of the front end work. And it's a medium to big MR. So I'm happy to have it done before I need to actually work with the backend. And over to Nick.
Yeah, so this week started working on the new package details UI, which Ian's designs look super nice and super cool. So it's good to get that started. I'm really excited to see how that materializes and how that looks. And also, it was really good to see some features go live and like be visible in the front end, such as package tags and the pipeline information as well. So that's really cool, and hopefully more and more people will get to use that soon. Over to Dan.
Yeah, better understanding of the data and the dashboards now that I've spent too long working in it, which is nice. Silver lining on that cloud. Our team is still, when I put this in last week, it's like every week I'm going to keep including it. I don't care repeating myself on this one. I think we're all doing really well. Metrics are good. Everyone seems to be working happily. That makes me happy, or helps me be happier. Let's put it that way. Talking through the milestone with Tim was really helpful for me, and that was the chat that Tim mentioned earlier. So that was awesome. And I registered for Contribute, and it's okay. I'm allowed to go. Thank goodness. I was so stressed out. I was like late at night going, oh, I never registered. Register. Email contribute@gitlab.com. Yeah, so that's awesome. Over to you, Steve.
I had a good day getting to work with Tim. I forgot to put under the what not went so well. It was I experienced an LA traffic commute, and that was fun. I was able to work in another location other than my home, and really it just like was very smooth. There's some minor adjustments, but otherwise I was able to kind of just like keep going as normal, which was very exciting to actually see that in action. I was able to jump in on the Composer MR while GG's on holiday and provide some updates in the review process and just kind of keep it moving. And so that felt good. I was surprised I was able to come up to speed on that quickly. And I bumped myself up to database trainee maintainer this last week. And so I've been seeing a big increase in reviews, but I haven't felt completely overwhelmed or lost yet. So that's been nice. Over to Ian.
This week was pretty exciting for me. I got to work on multiple designs, which are always exciting. I got to work on Helm charts and create the MVC design for that so we can differentiate that, as well as actually getting to dive into the container registry UI, which is a pretty complicated problem. So I'm really excited for that. Tim and I, he mentioned earlier, we got to sync on research. I now feel like we have a really solid plan on how to validate the jobs to be done and the job stories following. So I'm excited because next week we can get moving and hopefully capture some real data. And that solid plan feeds directly into an OKR for the designers. So it was really handy that our plan already matched what was going to be happening. That always feels really nice. Over to David.
Yes, thank you. So all the Nugget MRs are now in review or in there. I already tested the whole loop with Nugget and .NET. So the loop is authentication, pulling a package and pushing a package. And they are working properly. And well, there is one MR that we will need for Visual Studio. So still some work to do. I registered to the Rails performance training. And okay, then you might want to verbalize your comment.
I don't need to. I was just adding this as a note, but the videos from this training will be available for everyone. So don't feel like you're super missing out if you can't attend.
And we received a community merge request for an issue I opened just 3 days before. So it felt like, oh, this is a problem. And right after that, there is someone picking up. It was a bit funny. Over to you, Heli.
So the container registry release for 12.8 is shaping up really nicely. There's one more big MR that is going to be merged hopefully today, and then we can move it to staging, test it out for a bit, and then we release it. And then S3 garbage collection is very fast, and then people will celebrate in the streets, I hope. And I don't see any action items, so back to Dan.
Cool, thank you for that. Does anyone want to discuss anything in particular out of this list? I just want to, it's worthwhile when you mention MRs and those sorts of things, definitely link to them. I think I didn't do a good job here. I could have linked to some of the stuff I've been working on with dashboards so that people could take a look at it. But try to link to it so that we can actually get to its good habit to be in when you're in any meeting, taking notes or whatever is worthwhile going out and linking outside so people can get a context of what's going on. And I think in this call for people following along at home, it's worthwhile mentioning some of those links when they're public as well. Other than that, I think we're good. If anyone has, if anyone wants to hang around, we can chat afterwards as a more social thing. And otherwise, I think we can call it there and say, thanks everybody. And I will see you next week. We'll see you next week.